Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. We will continue in our chaplain studies. So let's get started. The topic we're going to talk about right now is loneliness in a crisis. Now, this can go both ways. It can be for you or it can be for the person. Douglas A. Purye, in his book Helping People in Crisis, shows how rapid the pleasing and undesirable changes in the family or life of individual are a threat to balance of the equilibrium. Now, we know that we all have to have equilibrium to walk around and to keep balance. But the same way, you have to have balance mentally in what you're doing. So sudden changes in families or something happens, everything, trauma, we don't know. Can throw off the equilibrium. It can throw off this person that you're trying to work with. That may be one of the reasons that they're kind of not in the mindset that they used to be. And like I said, another way of expressing equilibrium is a sense of security. An individual's sense of security depends on his or her relationship with others. These relationships, let's talk about a few of them, help an individual meet four basic needs. Relatedness to others. How do they relate to other people? How do they talk to other people? What are they doing? How are things set up? Support from others. Do they have a good support team? They're going through this crisis that you're trying to help them with and you're talking to them. Do they have people to support them when you leave? Are you the one they turn into as a chaplain? They have family members that support them. Could be anything from their parents to their wife or to ladies to their husbands. The children, maybe their children growing up, they support them. Do they have this? That's something you need to look at when you talk about loneliness. A sense of personal separation and identity. We talked about who am I? The question I gave you a long time ago, who am I? Well, they're asking the same question, who am I? Their sense of identity. Do they identify themselves as happy? We talked about that. Or they identify themselves as no good, no self-worth. Nobody wants me. Things that you have to deal with. A lot of times when they're lonely, that's one of the big problems. They have no self-worth in themselves. Something's happened to cause them not to have that. Something you need to be aware of so you can work on the situation. Self-esteem delivered through the input of others. Remember what we just talked about? No self-worth, no self-esteem. They worry what others think about them, what others say about them. That can be good and that can be bad. They got to have a good group around them that's saying, hey, you're okay. Things are going to work out. Things are going to be. Or they have a group around them and say, well, you're pretty sorry. You ain't never been worth nothing growing up. I knew you in high school. You were just a bum back then. I mean, it depends on what they have around them. They get their self-worth from other people, not themselves. This is where you as a chaplain come in with your kind demeanor and talk to them. And you talk to them about self-worth. Remember what I told you about Jesus Christ? How lonely he was, turned away even by his own Father in heaven. So you can relate that story again to them. And it may click and say, God loves you. Does he really? Yeah, God loves you. Well, I ain't worth 5 cents. God, you just keep telling them, God loves you. Give them some self-worth for themselves. How loneliness affects crisis resolution. All four of these needs above are poorly met when a person is lonely. You can call it depression if you want to, but right now this syllable calls it loneliness, so we'll kind of stick with loneliness. But basically, it's depression. And in the book, Crisis Intervention Theory and Methodology, they say the same thing. Mesick stated the problem will not lead to a crisis unless there are deficiencies of one or more of the following balancing factors. So, if they don't have these 4 factors above, it can lead to a crisis. If they have that, usually there's not going to be a crisis. Adequate network, like we said, a close group of people that can talk to them, that take care of them. Supportive relationships. Adequate coping mechanisms. Can they cope with this? Are they mentally able to cope with this? Do they have problems where they've been diagnosed that they can't cope with this? That's one thing you need to kind of see if you can find out. Okay. Puryear, remember his book, Crisis Intervention, lists 8 principles of crisis intervention. Immediate intervention. That may be what you're there for as chaplain. Immediate intervention. Something has happened. Something has set this person off. You're immediately there. You have to intervene with this person. Action. What actions be taken? What actions are taken by this person? What are they doing? How are they behaving? Are they angry? Are they violent? Are they just sad and depressed? Are they draw back in the shell where they want to talk to you? What action are they taking? That's what you're looking for. Limited goal? Okay, you're dealing with this person. What is your limited goal? You need to know what you want to accomplish with this person. You need to have one set up. So you're in there and you're talking to them. And let's say they're angry. What's your limited goal? To be calm, to talk to them, to try to calm them down from being angry before they go into the next phase and they get violent. Or they're drawn up in that shell and they just don't want to talk to nobody, and you're in there and you're talking to them and they just don't want to respond to you and all that. What's your limited goal? Get them to talk to you. Get them to say things. That's your limited goal. Hope and expectations. What's their hope? What's their expectations? Are they achievable? That's something you need to learn as a chaplain. If somebody tells you have these expectations, it's not a time to judge. But in your mind, you need to know they have this hope. They have that they want to be this. They're telling you, I want to be this regardless of what it takes. I'm going to. Is it achievable? Now, anything's achievable through God. But is it achievable? Is it a realistic goal that they have set? Support. We've talked about this. How's their support group? Is their family around them support good? Their children? Their friends? Do they have a good support group to help them out? If not, you need to look for ways to get them somewhere where they have a support group. Focused problem solving. Are they focused on the problem? Do they want it to be solved? A lot of times when you start out, people don't want it to be solved because when it's solved, they don't have something to go back on. Something happened and they don't want this thing to be done. Let's say they had a big fight. Let's say you're talking to them and it's a husband and wife and they've had a big fight. And they really don't want it to be resolved because they're still mad at the person. Even though they know it needs to be. But I want to be mad at this person a little bit longer. I want to show them how mad I can be. I want to show them what I can do. They have that ego, that attitude. They don't have that humbleness of, I want to put things back together. That's just one example of some things you may run up on. Self-image. How do they look at themselves? Remember I told you, look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Their self-image. Do they have a good self-image or a bad self-image? You need to know that so you can work which way. How do they feel about themselves? You can ask a few questions. Well, how do you feel? What do you think about? Just some questions you can come up with to see where they are with their self-image. Self-reliance. This is number 8. Can they function on their own? And this can go anywhere from mentally to physically. Can they function on their own? Can they think straight? Are they thinking straight? Can they take care of themselves? Or do they need their needs taken care of? Now, they may not want to, but the question is, can they? You need to evaluate that, because if they can't, you're there to help. So try to get them somebody that can help them. Like we said, we talk about, are they mentally able to handle the situation? May not be. So you have to figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to get them professional counseling? What's the situation? Even more challenging is the result finding that people in crisis will resolve it some way. Usually no more than 6 weeks after the crisis begins. A lonely person is very likely to arrive at an unhealthy equilibrium because support is seldom present. Good thing. These people are in a crisis. And like I said, maybe before 6 weeks, or may take 6 weeks, they're going to resolve the crisis one way or the other. Is it positive? Is it negative? Do they have that support around them to help them resolve this? All these things we talked about, and you're looking at, you're making a decision. Do they have this support? Can they handle this? I mean, you're part of taking care of them as a chaplain. You know, are they godly? Do they have God in their life? Do they not have God in their life? What can I do to help them? Will scriptures help them? Are talking about things help them? That's what you're going to need to know, because they're going to resolve this crisis for good, mediocre, or worse. So look at all these signs. Look at what we went over. A good chaplain will see these signs. They will start looking for these. It will be a step like when you're talking to somebody, you will start putting all these in your head. Are they doing this? Are they doing that? You know, it may take you 1, 2 times, but you'll start figuring things out if you're looking for them. You know, if you're not looking for something, you're not going to find it. That's the key. If you're not putting yourself together as a chaplain, as a person of God, and looking towards these people's needs, you won't find them. So y'all take a break. We'll be right back and finish talking about this subject. God bless you.